The aircraft cabin fell silent as the pilot's voices cut off mid-sentence. Flight 437 continued on autopilot while the cockpit erupted in urgent whispers. In seat 12F, a single father quietly read his thriller novel, his young daughter asleep against his shoulder. Nothing about him stood out. No uniform, no special treatment, just another tired traveler in jeans and a faded sweater. Then the lead flight attendant approached, her professional smile replaced by something closer to awe. "Commander," she whispered, barely audible, "we just received the alert. Call sign Aspen is active again." The unassuming father closed his book slowly, his eyes suddenly alert and scanning the cabin with military precision. "From which city in the world are you watching this video today? If stories of extraordinary people hiding in plain sight speak to you, consider subscribing to hear more about the heroes who walk among us unrecognized." Chicago O'Hare International Airport bustled with pre-holiday travel chaos, a living organism of frustration, fatigue, and forced festivity. Gate B-17 processed the final boarding groups for Flight 437 to San Diego, the gate agent's cheerful announcements barely audible above the ambient noise of roller bags, crying children, and the collective sighs of passengers facing yet another delay in an already stressful journey. Weather in the Midwest had created a cascade of scheduling problems, tempers fraying as holiday deadlines loomed closer with each passing hour. "Final boarding call for Flight 437 to San Diego. All zones now boarding," the gate agent repeated, voice maintaining professional pleasantness despite the visible irritation of waiting passengers. The line shuffled forward in the reluctant choreography of modern air travel. Documents checked, boarding passes scanned, humanity processed through the narrow jetway toward their assigned positions for the next 4 hours and 37 minutes. Among the final passengers to board was Alder Revere, a man whose entire appearance seemed calibrated not to register in memory. His height, neither notably tall nor short, placed him perfectly within the statistical average. His clothing, navy blue quarter-zip sweater over a plain button-down, khaki pants, and brown leather shoes just beginning to show wear, suggested practical comfort rather than fashion consciousness. His trim beard contained just enough gray to indicate late 30s, without specifying an exact age. The glasses he wore were so universally nondescript that they functioned as the perfect disguise, visible but unmemorable. "Dad, do you think we'll make it before dark?" asked the girl beside him, her small hand tucked confidently in his as they navigated the final approach to the aircraft. Elwyn Revere, 10 years old and already displaying the self-possession of someone twice her age, carried her own backpack with practiced ease, her movements mirroring her father's efficient economy. "Probably not, Elle," Alder replied, his voice calibrated to the same middle register as his appearance. "Pleasant but unremarkable. But the hotel has a pool that's open until 10. We should have time for a swim if you finish your homework on the plane." Their exchange drew no attention from surrounding passengers, the parent-child conversation indistinguishable from dozens of similar interactions occurring throughout the boarding process. They moved into the aircraft with practiced routine, requiring no assistance from flight attendants to locate their assigned seats. 12E and 12F, middle and window in the economy section, neither premium nor basic. As Alder helped Elwyn arrange her books and tablet in the seatback pocket, stowing their modest backpacks beneath the seats rather than occupying overhead bin space, the passenger in 12D arrived with considerably more presence. Lachlan Westbrook announced himself before physically appearing, his voice carrying from the aisle as he conducted a business call at maximum volume. "I'll need those projections reworked before the Henderson meeting, obviously," he stated, the unspoken emphasis suggesting incompetence on the other end of the connection. "Just have them on my desk Monday. I'm boarding my flight now. 4 hours of productivity lost, thanks to this delay." Westbrook appeared exactly as his voice suggested. Mid-40s, expensive haircut, custom-tailored business casual that broadcast success rather than merely clothing a body. His status symbols accumulated with predictable precision, noise-canceling headphones around his neck, latest model smartphone, platinum frequent flyer tags on his leather carry-on, signet ring on his right pinky finger. He assessed his row companions with the brief, dismissive glance of someone accustomed to categorizing others by their utility value and finding them wanting. "Excuse me?" he stated rather than asked, the phrase functioning as command rather than courtesy as he claimed the aisle seat without waiting for Alder and Elowen to stand, forcing them to accommodate his entry by awkwardly pressing themselves against their seats. His movements broadcast entitlement in their unquestioned assumption that the world would adjust around his convenience. Alder responded with polite accommodation, drawing his long legs in to create maximum space, placing a protective hand on Elowen's shoulder to guide her out of Westbrook's path. The interaction established immediate power dynamic, Westbrook claiming dominance through inconsiderate behavior, Alder yielding space rather than challenging the implicit hierarchy. "Thank you," Alder said quietly once Westbrook had settled, the courtesy meeting no acknowledgement as the businessman immediately donned his headphones and opened his laptop, creating technological barrier between himself and his row companions. Alder's response to this rudeness was simply to extract a paperback thriller from his backpack, Dog-Eared Pages, suggesting multiple readings, and help Elowen connect her headphones to the tablet containing her school assignments. Their practiced routine revealed history beyond this single flight, a father and daughter accustomed to travel, to managing small spaces and long waits, to creating functional efficiency within constraints. The way Alder checked Elowen's seatbelt without obvious movement, the way she accepted his silent offer of the window seat without discussion, the way both maintained consideration for neighboring passengers without receiving similar courtesy in return, all suggested experience navigating environments not designed for their comfort. In the cockpit, Captain Sorrel Blackwood completed final pre-flight checks with First Officer Thalia Jensen, their conversation reflecting the comfortable rhythm of professionals who had flown together enough to anticipate each other's patterns. "Weather system has moved east faster than forecast," Blackwood noted, reviewing updated meteorological data. "Should give us cleaner air once we reach cruising altitude." "Maintenance report from the hydraulic issue yesterday?" Jensen inquired, completing her portion of the checklist with practiced efficiency. "Resolved and signed off. New actuator installed and tested through full extension cycles." Their exchange contained the precise, contextual shorthand of experts who understand their domain so completely that communication can occur through abbreviated references and minimal verbal confirmation, mutual confidence established through demonstrated competence rather than excessive verification. The cockpit environment reflected this professional intimacy, organized according to protocol but personalized through small modifications that enhanced their particular workflow. The space adapted to its occupants rather than forcing standardization for its own sake. In the main cabin, lead flight attendant Meridian Costa briefed her crew with similar expertise, her 23 years of experience evident in the way she prioritized information. "Full flight, 183 passengers including 4 unaccompanied minors in rows 7 and 18, she summarized, assigning specific crew members to monitor these positions. "Passenger in 9C requires wheelchair assistance upon arrival. Air Marshal Harlow, deadheading in 24C. This last detail delivered with subtle emphasis that required no elaboration for experienced crew members. The presence of law enforcement colleague noted without drawing unnecessary attention. "Standard service once we reach cruising altitude," she continued, adjusting timeline based on expected turbulence patterns. "Let's focus on efficiency today, folks. Passengers have already endured 3-hour delay, and connection pressures are high." The briefing demonstrated Costa's leadership approach. Practical information delivered without unnecessary elaboration, clear task assignment, and contextual awareness that acknowledged both operational requirements and human factors. Her crew responded with the focused attention of professionals who respected both protocol and the person delivering it, their preparation movements displaying the coordinated efficiency of a team accustomed to functioning in restricted space under time constraints. As the aircraft doors closed and final preparations for departure began, the passenger ecosystem established itself through familiar patterns. Business travelers immediately opened laptops or reviewed documents, creating performance of productivity. Parents settled children with books, devices, and comfort items, their movements containing the weighted calculation of managing young energy within confined space for extended duration. Solo travelers established psychological boundaries through headphones and window gazing, creating private territory within public transport. From his position in 12F, Alder Revere observed these patterns with quiet awareness, his attention appearing focused on his book, while his peripheral vision registered movement throughout the cabin. Nothing in his demeanor suggested hypervigilance or unusual interest, just the natural situational awareness of someone accustomed to navigating public spaces. If he noted the off-duty airline pilot in 13F, the elderly Marine veteran wearing his service cap in 11D, or the behavioral psychologist returning from professional conference in 10C, his expression revealed nothing beyond casual passenger observation. Beside him, Elowen arranged her space with the precise organization of a child who has learned to create controllable environment within changeable circumstances. Her tablet, books, and small comfort items each occupied designated position, her movements containing the practiced efficiency of someone who has developed routine through repetition rather than instruction. The systems she created reflected both inherited tendency toward order and adaptation to frequent transitions between environments. Takeoff proceeded without incident, the aircraft lifting into gray Chicago skies with a powerful certainty of engineering overcoming natural forces. As they reached cruising altitude, the seatbelt sign deactivated with familiar chime, and cabin service preparations began. Passengers adjusted to the transitional phase between ascent restrictions and established cruise routine, movement resuming as lavatories became accessible and personal items could be retrieved from overhead storage. Approximately 40 minutes after takeoff, a subtle anomaly occurred in the otherwise predictable pattern of flight service. Two flight attendants independently performed what appeared to be casual cabin checks, both pausing momentarily near row 12 before continuing their movement. Nothing in their behavior suggested unusual attention to the average observer. Their professional expressions remained consistent, their overall pattern maintaining expected coverage of the entire cabin. But the synchronized nature of their movement indicated purpose beyond random service checks. When the beverage cart reached row 12, Meridian Costa herself handled the service rather than delegating to junior crew members as her position would typically dictate. Her interaction with passengers remained professionally consistent, but contained subtle variations in quality, her movements more precise around Alder and Elowen, her eye contact more deliberate, her questions about beverage preferences carrying undercurrent of assessment beyond customer service. "Water for you, sir," she inquired, the honorific carrying weight beyond standard courtesy. "Just water, thank you," Alder responded, his interaction remaining within expected passenger parameters while containing mutual recognition beneath the surface exchange. "Apple juice, please," Elowen requested, her politeness reflecting parental expectation rather than performance for strangers. "Of course," Meridian replied, serving their drinks with practiced efficiency before continuing to the next row. Only the most observant passenger would notice the subtle shift in her awareness as she moved away, her attention remaining partially focused on row 12, even as she served other passengers, her position maintaining sightline to Alder and Elowen regardless of her location along the service path. As the flight progressed into its second hour, Elowen finished her mathematics assignment and turned to her father with the particular expression of a child prepared to negotiate entertainment options. "Can I watch a movie now? The one with the helicopter scenes?" Alder's response contained gentle redirection, wrapped in parental warmth. "How about the animated one about the ocean instead? We can save the helicopter movie for when we're back home." The exchange appeared as standard parent-child negotiation, but contained subtle undercurrent of specific boundaries around military content that seemed personal rather than generic restriction. Elowen's acceptance of this redirection without protest suggested established pattern rather than new limitation, her compliance indicating familiarity with unspoken rules that governed certain content categories. Across the aisle, Lachlan Westbrook sighed with deliberate volume as Elowen's voice interrupted his concentration, his body language broadcasting irritation at the mere existence of a child within his perceived personal workspace. Though Elowen had spoken at considerate volume and quickly returned to silence with her headphones in place, Westbrook's expression suggested unreasonable imposition had occurred, his entitlement extending beyond physical space to encompass auditory environment as well. Alder noted this reaction without obvious acknowledgement, his attention returning to his book with the practiced focus of someone accustomed to filtering environmental input. His apparent absorption in reading concealed continuing awareness of cabin dynamics, his periodic page turns maintaining natural rhythm regardless of surrounding stimuli. The cover of his paperback, a generic thriller with forgettable title, functioned as both entertainment and social barrier, providing legitimate reason for limited interaction with neighboring passengers. 2 hours into the flight, subtle changes rippled through the cabin crew's behavior. Their movements became more structured, their attention more focused, their communication more deliberate. Nothing obvious enough to alarm passengers, but containing pattern recognition for those with specific training. Beverage service concluded with marginally increased efficiency. Crew positions adjusted to maintain clearer sightlines throughout the cabin. Communication between team members became more precisely timed rather than casual. In the cockpit, Captain Blackwood received a coded message through secure channels that caused her to exchange a meaningful glance with First Officer Jensen. "Verification request," she stated quietly, the phrase carrying operational significance beyond its literal meaning. Passenger manifest cross-reference, specific focus 12F. Jensen accessed the secured system with appropriate authorization codes, her movements reflecting trained procedure rather than curious investigation. The information that appeared on her screen caused momentary pause in her otherwise fluid actions, professional composure briefly interrupted by the significance of what she was seeing. "Confirmed," she responded, voice maintaining neutral tone despite the content being confirmed. Initiating Protocol 29B. This exchange contained operational implications that extended beyond routine flight management, the coded language and specific protocol designation indicating security considerations not shared with passengers or standard crew communications. The cockpit environment reflected this transition. Not emergency response, but heightened awareness. Not crisis management, but protocol activation with specific parameters. Throughout the main cabin, passengers remained unaware of this subtle shift, their experience continuing along expected commercial flight patterns. Meal service began with standard timing, entertainment systems functioned without interruption, lavatory access remained normal, all visible indicators suggesting routine operations despite the underlying protocol implementation occurring beyond passenger perception. As the flight continued over the American heartland, Air Marshal Tarek Harlow received a notification on his secure device. His training prevented visible reaction, his body language maintaining casual passenger appearance, while his situational assessment shifted to operational focus. From his position in 24C, he conducted visual sweep of cabin environment without obvious movement, his evaluation comprehensive despite restricted viewing angles. When passenger movement created natural opportunity, Harlow implemented standardized position adjustment protocol, relocating to 14A during what appeared to be routine cabin movement following meal service. This repositioning, explained to adjacent passengers as accommodation for family seating requests elsewhere in the aircraft, placed him in direct sightline to row 12, his new position offering both observational advantage and rapid response capability if required. When Alder rose to allow Elo an access to the lavatory, Harlow's professional assessment registered what no ordinary passenger would recognize. Beneath Alder's relaxed civilian demeanor, his movement contained microsecond tactical evaluation of surroundings. Weight distribution, suggesting combat readiness despite casual appearance. Spatial awareness, reflecting trained assessment rather than coincidental attention. Physical capabilities evident in controlled efficiency rather than civilian awkwardness within confined aircraft environment. Simultaneously in the cockpit, Captain Blackwood received confirmation of identity verification, with accompanying code designation that caused her to inhale sharply. Passenger in 12F verified, call sign Aspen, classification Umbra 7. The designation clearly carried significance beyond identification, creating immediate shift in operational posture without explanation shared with passengers. Whatever Aspen and Umbra 7 represented within military and intelligence frameworks, the classification alone justified protocol activation beyond standard security measures, transforming routine commercial flight into something carrying additional significance beneath its ordinary appearance. Captain Blackwood initiated Protocol 47 Delta without explanation to passengers, her commands flowing through established security channels rather than public announcements. The procedure appeared entirely routine from the cabin perspective. Minor service adjustments, standard crew movements, Nothing to suggest elevated security posture. Flight attendants performed what seemed like regular cabin checks, their practiced smiles masking tactical positioning that established clear sightlines to row 12 while maintaining professional distance. The cockpit secured communication channels for classified transmission, implementing encryption protocols rarely utilized on commercial flights. Air Marshal Harlow received the security alert through his encrypted device, the message requiring no verbal confirmation. He initiated position adjustment during the next natural movement opportunity, relocating to 14A through what appeared to be routine seat rebalancing for aircraft weight distribution, a common enough occurrence that passengers accepted without question. This repositioning placed him directly behind Alder, creating optimal intervention position while maintaining visual coverage of primary access points. The strategic placement appeared coincidental to untrained observers, just another passenger shuffling during a long flight. Throughout this coordinated response, Alder, Revere maintained his civilian appearance with practiced precision, attention seemingly focused on his paperback novel, periodic interactions with his daughter reflecting nothing beyond ordinary parental care. Only the most sophisticated observer would notice the subtle tension in his posture, the marginally increased frequency of his environmental scans disguised as casual stretching, the slight adjustment in his seated position that improved potential response capability while appearing to seek greater comfort in the confined economy seat. In the forward galley, Meridian Costa briefed selected crew members with appropriate clearance levels, her voice pitched below passenger hearing while maintaining conversational appearance. Passenger in 12F is former Special Operations, classified status, no approach without authorization. The limited disclosure created immediate questions evident in her team's expressions, though their training prevented verbal inquiry that might compromise operational security. Junior Flight Attendant Farron Caspian, recently transferred from international routes with additional security training, monitored passenger movements with heightened awareness. During brief private moment while restocking service items, she whispered to Meridian, "Threat assessment?" Meridian's response revealed another layer entirely. He's not the threat, he's the asset. This critical distinction transformed the operational understanding, not security risk requiring containment, but protected individual requiring defense. The protocols designed to shield rather than restrict. This reframing raised immediate questions about what circumstances would necessitate such protection on routine commercial flight, what operational value justified these measures for apparently retired operative, what potential threat existed sufficient to warrant these specialized procedures. The cabin environment reflected this underlying tension, despite surface normality. Overhead lights, slightly brighter than standard cruise illumination. Air circulation increased to optimal alertness levels rather than comfort settings. Cabin temperature adjusted to prevent passenger drowsiness. These subtle environmental modifications supported heightened awareness. While remaining within parameters passengers would accept without question, the aircraft systems adapted to security requirements without disrupting civilian experience. Across the aisle from Alder, Lachlan Westbrook's irritation grew with each passing hour. His important spreadsheet work repeatedly interrupted by minor disturbances. Elowen's occasional whispered questions to her father, flight attendants' more frequent passes through the aisle, the elderly veteran in 11D shifting position as his military-damaged knees required. These normal aspects of shared commercial travel registered as personal affronts to Westbrook's entitled worldview, his expression darkening with each perceived intrusion into his imagined private workspace. When Elowen quietly asked her father if she could have a snack from her backpack, Westbrook's patience finally shattered. "Some people are trying to work here," he snapped, volume intentionally elevated to ensure surrounding passengers registered his complaint. "Control your kid or book private travel." The comment created immediate tension ripple throughout nearby rows, passengers instinctively preparing for the familiar, uncomfortable scenario of confrontation in confined space. Several discreetly adjusted earbuds or redirected attention to personal devices, employing the standard civilian technique of pretending not to notice public conflict. Air Marshal Harlow shifted slightly forward, prepared to intervene if necessary, while maintaining non-official appearance. Instead of the expected escalation, Alder responded with unexpected calm that contained subtle authority beneath its surface accommodation. "She'll keep it down. Appreciate your patience." His tone maintained perfect politeness while somehow establishing clear boundaries, the response appearing conciliatory, but creating unmistakable sense that further complaints would be unwise. Westbrook registered this underlying message despite its surface courtesy, his instinctive recognition of authority hierarchy, responding to something his conscious mind couldn't identify. He mumbled acknowledgement before returning attention to his laptop, momentarily subdued by dynamics he couldn't articulate but subconsciously respected. The interaction revealed glimpses of command presence beneath Alder's unassuming exterior, ability to establish control without aggression, to redirect behavior through presence rather than force. The elderly Marine veteran in 11D observed this exchange with experienced assessment, his weathered features registering recognition beyond civilian understanding. During the next beverage service, he deliberately dropped his napkin near Alder's seat, creating natural opportunity for brief exchange as both men reached for it simultaneously. "Appreciate your service," the veteran said quietly, the phrase carrying layered meaning beyond standard appreciation offered to identified military personnel. "Just doing my job," Alder responded, their eyes meeting briefly in mutual recognition before both returned to their respective positions. The conversation appeared as casual pleasantry between strangers, but contained subtext through specific word choices and reference points only veterans with particular backgrounds would recognize. The older man studied Alder's hands as they both reached for the napkin, noting the calluses and faint scars telling story different from his civilian appearance, the specific pattern of wear suggesting specialized weapons training rather than typical military service. As the veteran settled back into his seat, his posture transformed from casual traveler to watchful guardian, his awareness adding another layer of protection. Around row 12, his gaze periodically swept the cabin with practiced efficiency, his positioning adjusted to maintain optimal observation angles despite his apparent relaxed reading. Without official communication or acknowledgement, he had integrated himself into the security framework, military brotherhood, transcending formal protocols. 3 hours into the flight, automated security systems detected unauthorized access attempt to sealed cockpit communications, the breach appearing unsuccessful but triggering elevated response protocols. Captain Blackwood received encrypted update that created immediate concern, the message appearing on secured channel, Cirrus protocol activated, confirmation, Aspen package is target. This cryptic message transformed the situation from passive security to active threat assessment, though no direct danger had yet manifested within the aircraft. Throughout the cabin, crew members received coded alerts through subtle signals, specific announcement phrasings, particular beverage offerings, designated movement patterns that communicated security status without alarming passengers. These established protocols allowed team coordination without explicit communication, the crew responding to potential threat with practiced efficiency disguised as routine service. Air Marshal Harlow received direct authorization for defensive protocols if necessary, the parameters expanding beyond standard Air Marshal guidelines to include specialized response options, typically reserved for high-value protection scenarios. This authorization indicated threat level beyond routine passenger management, suggesting intelligence assessment classified well above typical commercial aviation security concerns. When Elowen visited the lavatory midway through the flight, Meridian approached Alder directly during this brief window of private conversation. Her communication maintained perfect flight attendant appearance to surrounding passengers while delivering precise operational information. "Mr. Revere, Captain Blackwood acknowledges your status and confirms protective protocols are active." Alder's response appeared entirely casual to nearby observers, but contained formal acknowledgement within its seemingly ordinary phrasing. "Appreciate the courtesy notice. Standard observation only unless parameters change." This brief exchange confirmed multiple operational realities simultaneously. Alder's complete awareness of the situation, despite his civilian appearance, his conscious choice to maintain cover rather than assume active security role, the established protocol hierarchy that placed tactical decisions within his authority rather than aircraft command structure. The The conversation lasted less than 15 seconds, but established critical operational parameters that would govern any developing security situation. The aircraft began crossing restricted military airspace over the American Midwest, the route adjustment implemented by Air Traffic Control without announcement to passengers. This minor course modification created additional security buffer while remaining within standard commercial flight parameters. The change noticeable only to those monitoring navigation systems directly. The adjusted flight path placed them within rapid response range of multiple military installations, creating invisible safety net beneath the routine commercial journey. Without warning or announcement, two F-16 fighter jets appeared alongside the commercial aircraft, one visible through left side windows, the other maintaining position on the right side. Their presence, while maintaining significant distance from the commercial flight, created immediate passenger interest. Phones appearing throughout the cabin to capture images of the unexpected escort. Captain Blackwood's voice came through the announcement system with practiced calm that betrayed no concern. Folks, the fighter escorts you may notice are part of routine training exercises in this corridor. No cause for concern. The explanation satisfied most passengers, who returned to their activities after capturing sufficient documentation for social media updates. Those with military background recognized the formation as distinctly non-standard for training exercises. The positioning optimized for civilian aircraft protection rather than combat training maneuvers. When one fighter adjusted position to maintain clearer sightline to the aircraft's right side, where row 12 was located, the precision suggested specific focus rather than general escort protocol. Zephyr Kincaid, the behavioral psychologist in 10C, observed these developments with professional interest, her training allowing pattern recognition beyond typical passenger awareness. From her vantage point, she noted the non-random crew movements, the strategic repositioning of specific passengers, the contained alertness in Alder's behavior despite his apparent relaxation. Her analytical mind cataloged these anomalies without understanding their specific context, recognizing organized protocol implementation without accessing the operational framework behind it. When she attempted casual conversation with Meridian during beverage service, the flight attendant's response techniques revealed additional confirmation of unusual circumstances. Deflection strategies taught in high-level security programs rather than standard customer service training. Information management approaches designed for classified operations rather than commercial aviation. This sophisticated response further confirmed Zephyr's assessment that something significant occurred beneath the ordinary flight surface, though the specific scenario remained beyond her professional framework. As the aircraft began initial descent preparation, passenger attention naturally shifted toward arrival anticipation, collecting personal items, completing entertainment content, preparing for transition from air, travel to destination activities. This predictable behavior pattern created perfect cover for security protocols, the normal disruption of pre-landing routine, concealing operational movements that might otherwise draw attention. Captain Blackwood received urgent communication that caused immediate implementation of secure cockpit protocol, temporarily restricting access even to authorized crew. Through the secured channel, military command delivered updated intelligence with classification level rarely seen in civilian aviation. Intercepted communication confirms Cirrus team has Aspen package targeted for interdiction upon landing. Authorization granted for protocol Avalanche. The designation clearly signified severe escalation, causing First Officer Jensen to exchange alarmed glance with her captain. Protocol Avalanche contained response parameters beyond standard security measures, authorizing military intervention options typically reserved for direct threats to national security assets. The protocol activation indicated intelligence assessment had confirmed specific targeting rather than general security concern, transforming theoretical caution into confirmed threat response. Should we inform the passenger in 12F? Jensen asked, professional composure momentarily slipping as she processed the operational implications. The question reflected genuine uncertainty about command hierarchy in this specialized scenario, whether civilian aviation authority maintained communication responsibility or military protocols superseded standard procedures. Captain Blackwood responded with grim certainty born of previous experience with classified operations. He already knows. As if confirming her assessment, security monitors showed Alder Revere calmly removing his glasses and placing them in his pocket, the seemingly casual action containing significant operational meaning. Without obvious movement that might alert surrounding passengers, his posture subtly transformed. Civilian relaxation replaced by controlled readiness. Parental attentiveness shifting to tactical awareness. His entire presence recalibrating, while maintaining external appearance unchanged to untrained observers. The transformation occurred within the constraint of standard economy seating, nothing in his movement drawing attention from surrounding passengers. Only those with specialized training would recognize the transition from civilian cover to operational readiness, the precise adjustments that optimized response capability while preserving non-threatening appearance. His hand briefly touched Eloin's shoulder in what appeared to be casual parental gesture, but clearly communicated security alert to his daughter, her immediate response suggesting established protocols between them. First Officer Jensen retrieved a sealed security packet from the locked cockpit safe, a procedure so rare she had never personally implemented it during her 12-year career. The documentation contained classified protocol instructions specific to high-value asset protection during civilian transport. The content cleared for access only under direct authorization codes provided through secured military channels. As she reviewed the materials, her expression transformed from professional concern to genuine amazement. "He's that Aspen?" she asked Captain Blackwood in disbelief, recognition finally connecting code designation to specific operational history. "The one from Operation Nightshade?" The captain's terse nod confirmed, providing first concrete reference to specific military action that clearly held significant meaning within defense communities while remaining unknown to general public. This connection transformed abstract security protocol into specific historical context, linking the unassuming passenger in 12F to classified operation apparently important enough to justify current security response 7 years after its execution. As the aircraft entered San Diego airspace, Captain Blackwood received final security update through encrypted channel, the message displayed only on secured cockpit screen. Breach in secure communications confirmed. Cirrus has flight manifest and seat assignment. Aspen identity compromised. Extraction team ETA 17 minutes after landing. This intelligence created immediate tactical problem. The aircraft would land before security team could establish protective perimeter, creating vulnerability window during deplaning process. The standard airport security measures provided insufficient protection given the confirmed threat level, requiring adaptive response beyond established protocols. With the aircraft beginning final approach, Alder's awareness of the situation became undeniable to trained observers. His civilian demeanor remained intact for surrounding passengers, but contained clear tactical elements beneath the surface performance. Periodic environmental scans disguised as stretching, precise attention to movement patterns throughout the cabin, subtle positioning adjustments that created optimal response capability within confined seating. When Meridian passed row 12 during final cabin check, Alder made deliberate eye contact, his quiet statement carrying formal protocol acknowledgement beneath its casual appearance. Sunrise protocol confirmed, asset and package secured. The cryptic exchange verified his complete operational awareness and readiness for whatever security situation awaited upon landing. His priority remained evident through his protective positioning relative to Eloin, her safety clearly established as primary objective above all other considerations, including his own. The unexpected catalyst occurred through human rather than operational factors. The elderly Marine veteran from 11D rose during final approach despite illuminated seatbelt signs, his movement drawing immediate attention from flight attendants prepared to enforce safety protocols. Before they could intervene, he turned to face the cabin with deliberate purpose, his posture displaying the unmistakable command presence developed through decades of military service. "Attention passengers," he announced, voice carrying authority that created immediate silence throughout the cabin. "An American hero sits among us today." The unexpected announcement from the elderly Marine veteran created immediate disruption throughout the cabin. Flight attendants froze in position, protocol training temporarily overridden by the unprecedented situation. Passengers who had been preparing for landing turned toward the standing veteran with expressions ranging from confusion to irritation at the safety violation. Captain Blackwood's voice came through the intercom, professional calm masking obvious tension. "Sir, please return to your seat immediately. We're on final approach." The veteran acknowledged the instruction with military courtesy, a brief nod that respected the captain's authority, while clearly communicating his intention to complete his statement. "The man in 12F is Lieutenant Commander Alder Revere, Aspen 1. The formal identification created immediate recognition among military personnel aboard, including deadheading crew members in civilian clothing who hadn't been briefed on the situation. The off-duty pilot in 13F straightened visibly, her casual travel posture replaced by instinctive military bearing. Two National Guard members in 17A and 21C exchanged significant glances, their awareness of the designation obvious despite their civilian clothing. "Commander Revere led Operation Nightshade 7 years ago," the veteran continued, his voice carrying the weight of personal knowledge rather than rumor. 34 hostages rescued, including 12 children. Details remain classified, but those of us who serve know. This public declaration transformed the cabin atmosphere instantly. The off-duty pilot stood despite flight attendants' repeated requests to remain seated, rendering perfect military salute toward row 12. The National Guard members followed suit from their positions, creating visual wave of acknowledgement that communicated significance beyond verbal explanation. Throughout the cabin, passengers with military connections or family members in service recognized the name and operation reference, their expressions shifting from travel fatigue to awakened respect. Lachlan Westbrook, who had dismissed Alder with casual contempt throughout the flight, shrank visibly into his seat as understanding dawned of exactly who he had treated with such disrespect. His previously dominant body language collapsed into defensive posture, laptop closing as if to physically distance himself from his earlier behavior. The transformation represented perfect inversion of power, dynamic established during boarding. The businessman's assumed superiority revealed as ignorant misreading of actual authority hierarchy. As the aircraft touched, down with the smooth precision of Captain Blackwood's experienced handling, Alder's transformation completed, not through dramatic action or announcement, but through subtle shift in how he occupied space. His civilian persona fell away completely, revealing the commanding officer beneath without changing physical position or making theatrical gestures. The man who had yielded space to Westbrook during boarding now emanated quiet authority that filled the cabin beyond his physical presence, the leadership quality previously hidden, now visible to everyone aboard. When he spoke to Elowen, his tone remained gentle but contained new layer, evident to all within hearing distance. "Emergency Protocol 3, sweetheart, just like we practiced." The exchange revealed their preparation for exactly this scenario, Elowen's calm compliance indicating familiarity with security procedures beyond typical parent-child dynamics. Her small nod and immediate gathering of essential items from their backpacks suggested established protocols practiced rather than explained, her movements containing the same efficient precision as her father's, despite her young age. As the aircraft taxied toward the gate, Captain Blackwood made unprecedented announcement that confirmed the situation's exceptional nature. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have special arrival procedures today. Please remain seated until military personnel have secured the jet bridge. This is standard protocol and no cause for concern." This public acknowledgement transformed speculation into certainty without providing operational details that might compromise security. Through the windows, passengers observed military vehicles and personnel establishing perimeter around their arrival gate, the coordinated efficiency indicating pre-planned operation rather than emergency response. The visible security presence confirmed the significance of the passenger in 12F, without requiring explicit explanation of the specific circumstances necessitating protection. The aircraft reached the gate with practiced precision, the ground crew's movements displaying additional security awareness beyond standard arrival procedures. Military personnel boarded before any passengers disembarked, their professional efficiency establishing clear security corridor through the aircraft. Their tactical gear contained no unit insignia or identifying markers, but their coordination and equipment quality indicated specialized team rather than standard security force. The commanding officer, Colonel Larkspur, approached Row 12 directly, rendering formal salute to Alder that acknowledged rank and service beyond his civilian appearance. "Commander Revere, Nightshade Team sends regards." This simple statement carried immense significance beyond its literal meaning, confirming both Alder's identity and the historical importance of the operation mentioned earlier. The exchange transformed public understanding throughout the cabin. The unassuming father in casual clothing, now revealed as high-level military operative whose service affected national security in ways significant enough to justify current protocols. As Alder and Elowen prepared to disembark under military escort, the passengers witnessed the transformation of someone they had overlooked into someone worthy of highest protection. The contrast between his previous invisibility and current importance created powerful visual narrative that required no verbal explanation. The security team's coordinated movements established protective formation around father and daughter, their professional efficiency displaying the seamless integration of civilians into tactical protocol. When Elowen asked with childlike directness that carried throughout the quiet cabin, "Are the bad people looking for us again, Dad?" Alder's response revealed final layer of their reality. "Not for much longer, El. That's why we're here." This simple exchange confirmed the journey itself was operational rather than civilian, not running from threat but moving toward resolution. The commercial flight providing cover for strategic movement rather than merely civilian transport. The revelation added final dimension to the unfolding story, explaining both the security response and the purpose behind their seemingly ordinary travel. As Alder and Elowen exited the aircraft, first under protective escort, the remaining passengers observed additional security measures throughout the terminal, visible through the windows. Areas cordoned off, personnel stationed at strategic positions, civilian law enforcement coordinating with military units. This visible response confirmed the significance of what they had witnessed, without requiring explicit explanation, creating natural viral spread of the story through first-hand witnesses sharing their experience of the ordinary flight that transformed into extraordinary encounter. Within hours, limited information reached public channels, carefully sanitized but confirming key elements that passengers had witnessed. Military spokesperson acknowledged security operation involving protected intelligence asset on commercial flight, while aviation authorities confirmed standard protocols for high-value passenger transport. These official statements provided just enough validation to confirm passengers' experience without revealing classified details that might compromise ongoing operations or future security measures. Social media filled with first-hand accounts from Flight 437, creating viral spread of the human story beneath the operational reality. The quiet father revealed as decorated commander, the disrespectful passenger humbled by revelation, the everyday flight transformed into moment of national security significance. The hashtag #AllAspen1 began trending nationally, though official sources neither confirmed nor denied the designation's significance, maintaining operational security while acknowledging public interest. For Lachlan Westbrook, the entitled businessman whose behavior had revealed fundamental character flaws, the consequences extended beyond momentary embarrassment. His company maintained significant government contracts requiring security clearance he had potentially jeopardized through his documented behavior toward protected military asset. Within days, internal investigation notification appeared in his professional email, the corporate language containing unmistakable seriousness beneath bureaucratic phrasing. His previous confidence crumbled as he realized his career now hung in balance due to failure to recognize significance beyond surface appearances. This consequence delivered satisfying justice without vindictiveness, natural result of character rather than imposed punishment, allowing viewer satisfaction without celebrating another's downfall. The same systems he had exploited for personal advantage now held him accountable through established protocols rather than emotional response. The elderly Marine who had triggered the public revelation provided perspective through brief interview with waiting family members at arrival gate, his assessment captured by another passenger's recording, later shared across multiple platforms. Some heroes wear uniforms that tell you who they are. The most important ones sometimes can't. Doesn't make their sacrifice any less. His simple explanation captured the story's core theme, that service often remains invisible by necessity rather than choice, that true importance rarely aligns with visible indicators of status or authority. His willingness to break protocol by identifying Alder publicly revealed another dimension of military brotherhood. Sometimes protection comes through visibility rather than secrecy. When circumstances require adaptation, the veteran's experience allowing tactical assessment that official channels might have missed. For the flight crew, the experience transformed professional perspective beyond single unusual flight. Captain Blackwood addressed her team during required security debriefing, her assessment reflecting new appreciation for routine procedures they performed thousands of times. Today reminded us why protocols matter. We never know who we're really carrying, what stories sit in each seat. This reflection acknowledged hidden dimensions of their everyday work, that routine flights may contain extraordinary circumstances, that passengers dismissed as unremarkable may carry significance beyond visible indicators. Their professional competence throughout the security situation became source of pride rather than standard performance. Their role in national security momentarily visible rather than background support, typically taken for granted. The incident created ripple effects beyond immediate participants and witnesses. Security protocols for commercial aviation underwent review at national level, acknowledging increasingly blurred lines between civilian transport and operational necessity in modern threat environments. Military families recognized their own experiences in the story that spread through both official and unofficial channels. The careful boundaries, the necessary secrets, the complex balance between operational security and family bonds that defined their daily reality. The public glimpsed dimension of service usually hidden from view, creating more nuanced understanding of what protection actually requires beyond theatrical representations in popular media. Comment sections filled with stories from military families sharing similar experiences, the birthdays celebrated in secure facilities, the deployments explained as business trips, the achievements never publicly acknowledged, all part of service extending far beyond individual recognition. Through conversation with military child support specialists during secure transport to their next location, Elawan revealed her understanding of their unique family dynamics. Dad says we're secret keepers because some truths need protecting just like people do. Her perspective provided emotional core beneath operational framework, the family relationships that sustain those who serve in classified capacities, the children who inherit both burden and honor of secrets they didn't choose but learned to carry. Her resilience reflected not just inherited strength, but carefully cultivated understanding, her father preparing her for reality rather than shielding her from it entirely. In secure debriefing facility, Alder Revere met with operational command to assess threat situation and determine next steps for both mission requirements and family protection. The discussion revealed final dimension of his character, his unwavering prioritization of his daughter's well-being within necessary security parameters. When offered extraction to fully secured facility with optimal protection but limited civilian interaction, he countered with alternative proposal that balanced operational requirements against Elawan's need for stability and normalcy. She needs school, friends, regular life between operations, he stated, his tactical assessment including human factors alongside security considerations. We can establish sufficient coverage without complete isolation. The Singapore protocols worked for 14 months without compromise. His approach demonstrated the core quality that had made him exceptional commander, ability to balance mission requirements against human factors rather than sacrificing either for procedural simplicity. The exchange revealed his continued service wasn't obligation, but choice. His civilian cover protecting values worth defending, rather than simply hiding from threats. The operational team's respectful consideration of his proposal, rather than automatic protocol enforcement, reflected his standing within command structure, his judgment valued beyond standard hierarchy. The story concluded, with Alder and Elawan arriving at new residence in military family housing area, not hiding within civilian population, but integrated within community that understood their unique reality without requiring explanation. As they unloaded modest belongings from military transport, neighbors from similar backgrounds offered quiet assistance without invasive questions. demonstrating supportive framework that sustains those who serve in classified capacities. A woman approximately Alder's age approached with welcoming casserole rather than security briefing, her greeting containing perfect balance of professional courtesy and personal warmth. Welcome to Oceanside. The school has excellent security protocols and 3 other umbrella families in Eloin's grade. Tuesday carpools already arranged if that works with your schedule. This environment allowed both protection and belonging, security without isolation, providing visual representation of healthy balance between operational requirements and human needs. The community represented invisible support structure that enables specialized service, the networks of families maintaining normalcy within extraordinary circumstances, creating stability that allows operators to function in both military and civilian capacities. As Eloin prepared for first day at new school, her bedroom already transformed from temporary quarters to personal space through careful arrangement of items carried between locations. Alder watched from doorway with expression containing both parental love and operational assessment. "Ready for tomorrow, Elle?" "New school standard procedure," she replied with the practical confidence of a child who had navigated multiple transitions. "Establish cover, maintain consistency, standard response to background questions." She recited the guidelines with clear understanding of both mechanics and purpose, her comprehension reflecting years of adaptation to their unique lifestyle. "And the most important rule," Alder prompted, their exchange revealing practiced protocol beneath casual conversation. "Truth with people who matter," Eloin answered immediately. "Just not all the truth all the time." Her response demonstrated sophisticated understanding beyond her years, that honesty and security aren't opposing values but balanced considerations, that relationships require authenticity even within necessary boundaries. This wisdom reflected careful parental guidance rather than operational indoctrination. Alder's priority clearly centered on raising a healthy child within extraordinary circumstances rather than creating perfect security asset. The closing scene showed Eloin starting at new school with quiet confidence rather than anxiety that might be expected from child repeatedly relocated for security reasons. When her teacher asked students to share something about their families during introduction activity, Eloin's response captured the story's essence. "My dad helps people who need it most. Sometimes no one knows except the people he helped, and that's enough." This simple statement encapsulated the core theme that recognition often matters less than impact, that service sometimes requires invisibility rather than acknowledgement, that true heroes rarely announce themselves as such. Her understanding reflected values transmitted through example rather than instruction, providing glimpse of next generation, carrying forward commitment to service beyond self. As Alder watched from parent observation area before heading to classified briefing at nearby base, his expression contained pride beyond standard parental satisfaction. Through the classroom window, he observed his daughter navigating new social environment with the same tactical awareness he applied to operational scenarios. Her inherited capabilities adapted to age-appropriate challenges. The security personnel maintaining discreet watch throughout the school grounds performed their function with professional invisibility, present but unobtrusive, vigilant but not disruptive. Their presence represented the systems supporting people like Alder and Eloin, the operational infrastructure that enables both protection and normalcy, security without isolation, service without constant sacrifice of fundamental human connection. The final image showed Alder checking his secure phone as notification arrived, duty calling him back to operational responsibilities, while Eloin established her new daily routine. His transition from father to commander occurred without theatrical transformation, simply straightening shoulders slightly, adjusting focus from personal to professional priorities, the same person operating across contexts with seamless integration rather than compartmentalized separation. This balance represented the highest achievement in both operational excellence and personal integrity, maintaining core identity across contexts rather than fragmenting under different demands, bringing full humanity to specialized service rather than sacrificing essential self for operational efficiency. The quiet heroism displayed not through dramatic action, but consistent character across environments, the extraordinary revealed within ordinary moments rather than separate from daily life. The father in seat 12F and the commander answering to call sign Aspen were never different people, just different aspects of integrated whole, serving with same dedication, whether recognized or invisible, valued for impact rather than acknowledgement, finding purpose in protection rather than praise.